Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is the Billion Bet Podcast. Today we have Crystal Steinbrook on, author of working with Andy Elliot as well. From Career Queen to a Millionaire's Dream. The book will be out soon. Hopefully by the time the podcast airs, you guys can pre-order it. She's already got quite a few copies sold, so hop on. It's a really great story. Crystal, thanks for joining us and welcome onto the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So I was doing a little bit of background research on you, and I kind of want to start from the beginning and get the full story. So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in a small town around Jonesboro, Arkansas. Many people will not know the name of the town. It was Egypt, literally 100 people population in the middle of farmland. So that's where I grew up.
And then you went to the University of Arkansas, correct?
I went to actually Arkansas State University
Arkansas State.
and got my master's degree in communication disorders.
Okay. And you were working with dementia patients for a while, correct?
Yes, my whole career has focused around helping individuals living with dementia, also helping their care partners, teach them communication techniques to improve their quality of life while they're still here with us.
And what kind of like motivated you to get into that field? It's very, very unique.
Yeah, so long story is I was a teenager and around the age of 18, I knew I wanted to go into healthcare because I'm from the South. So, it was go to college, go to college, go to college, figure out what you want to do. I was the first person in my whole family to ever go to college and finish college. So that was a big step. My parents really wanted me to do that. I knew that if I wanted to make something of myself, I needed a career in healthcare. It was pushed very hard, but also at an early age, I knew I had that heart of caring and not necessarily focusing on money, but more just caring for people. When I was 18, I started working in a hospital with a very great company out of Jonesboro, Arkansas. Therapy Providers of Arkansas is the name of that company. I believe they're still around to this day. They work directly with St. Bernard's Regional Medical Center. I started there. They gave me an opportunity to work as a rehab tech. And very quickly, I realized that I had a skill and a natural ability to show some different communication styles and techniques to people that had strokes, which also, as you know, affects the brain. And depending on which area of the brain that the stroke affects will depend on what the communication abilities are. So I had an epiphany that, I tried physical therapy, wasn't really into that. I like the physical part, but as you get older, it wears on your body. Occupational therapy, the same thing. I love to talk to people. It's just something I do. Sometimes you can't get a word in edgewise with me. So I thought, well, this is a great profession for me. So went in, spoke to a family whose grandmother had lost her ability to communicate altogether. She was speaking, living a normal life, had a massive stroke, could no longer talk at all. All she would do was cry. So I went in, and her granddaughter was with her, and we sang Old MacDonald Had a Farm. So when we sang Old MacDonald Had a Farm, the lady started humming, and then she started singing, and everybody just started crying. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm meant to do. I am meant to change people's lives this way with communications. So that's kind of what sparked me into going to speech language pathology, then getting into that career. Fast forward, realized that there was a missing hole. There was a huge gap in those speech therapy services of people that don't know how to work with people living with dementia, which also affects the brain. So I started doing some studies and specialty certifications and became a specialist in dementia care and became a dementia practitioner in Tampa Bay area and was actually working in a top neurology office. And I had people flying in from all over to come see me. So it was very, very rewarding. It wasn't about money because if you work in healthcare, you know that there's not a lot of money in healthcare, especially because it's driven by insurance companies. So that was my career with speech language pathology and dementia care.
Wow. And where did you decide, hey, maybe I want to try something new?
I really didn't. My husband, he was in sales, and during COVID, he had a restaurant and worked, with he was a bartender, restaurant manager, lost everything during COVID, and I pushed him to go into sales because he couldn't find a job. He went 8 to 9 months without work, and it was very heartbreaking because as a man, you want to provide for your family, and I could see that, mentally he was struggling. So I told him, I said, I picked up 3 jobs in healthcare just so that we could keep things afloat and not, lose ourselves during that time frame. And I said, hey, go apply at the car dealership. He was like, no, I am not a car salesman. I said, you need to go do this. They'll hire you right away. You have a great personality. Just look at things differently. He literally walked in, they hired him right on the spot. And that was where things started changing for us. He worked at the car dealership for about 10 months, and I had him plugged into Andy Elliot. And he found Andy Elliot on YouTube, social media, and he's like, "Who's this guy?" And then he started watching it, and then he started changing, and his income grew drastically. He invested in himself. He bought Andy's courses. He went out to a live seminar. However, the live seminar was where our whole life changed because he was going down a pretty rough path at night. And I thought, well, he needs to get plugged in live because there's something about being in close proximity of those people that, have been and gone where you want to go. So he came out to Scottsdale, Arizona, spent the weekend with Andy and the team. And this was about 3.5 years ago. He came back and he had the look in his eyes. And I said, oh no, 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 we're not moving. Absolutely not. This is not happening. I'm not doing this. I cannot give up this career that I have spent 19 years to get my own private practice, which was the dream for a healthcare professional. I'm very stubborn. I'm an alpha woman. So I said no. I said, no, no, no. He's like, no to what? I said, I know that look in your eyes. We're not moving to Scottsdale. He's like, okay, fine. And I said, I walked away. He went to work. I felt horrible because I had just like crushed his dreams. And, he was supportive of me doing what I needed to do. So, of course, I called my dad. Not really a daddy's girl. I'm a mama's girl, but I knew that if I had an answer, I needed to call my dad. So called my dad and he said, look, you're an alpha. You are stubborn. And if you want to marry this man, you're going to have to sacrifice possibly your whole career to let him follow his dream and let him be the man in the relationship and just go for it because you can always make money. There's money everywhere to be made.
Yeah.
So I swallowed my pride. He came home and I said, we're doing it. He said, what? I said, we're doing it. We're moving. And he said, no way. I said, yes way. So literally we waited about 30 days because Andy would not answer the phone. And my husband was so angry because he would call and he wouldn't answer. He would call and he wouldn't answer. He would call and he wouldn't answer. I said, he's testing you. He's seeing how bad you really want this. And he said, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm going to call him one more time. If he doesn't answer, I'm done. I said, fine. I'm just telling you, he's testing you. On that last call, he picked up the phone and Andy said, okay, good. I was just testing you. I wanted to see how bad you really wanted it. And I said, I told you so. Yeah. So then they put him on the phone. They asked him a bunch of questions. And then the screen turned to me. And it was Jacqueline and Andy. And they said, Chris isn't moving here unless we have your support. And you're moving here as a couple because we will not break relationships up. That's not how we operate. So, but at that point, I was like, wow, like that's very powerful. Like the fact that they would want my buy-in of all of this. There's not very many companies out there that look to the spouse when they're hiring the other person.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I have a lot of moving pieces. I have a private practice. I need 6 weeks. Give me 6 weeks to say goodbye to all these people that I have change their lives and make some good connections and give them my phone number so that they have a contact. I didn't want to just cut off ties. So We 6 weeks later, we moved to Scottsdale, sold everything that we owned and moved here with one tiny U-Haul truck, and that was it. Rest is history.
So you guys show up in Scottsdale, you rent a place, and then do you both start working for Andy? Does just Chris start?
When we first moved here, it was sight unseen. It was horrible. I'm not going to give the name of the place, but we moved to a place that had a lot of promises, was an apartment. We thought, okay, we're going to downgrade because we don't know. There's moving here, it's all commission based. There was no, set. If you're moving here for money, don't move here, basically was the conversation. So we had saved up quite a bit of money, but we didn't know the cost of living in this area, which is quite a bit more than Florida. And we moved here, lived in an apartment. It was horrible. That's all I'm going to say about that. We made the best of it. 3 months later, we moved out and moved into another home. And I had no work for the first 3 months. I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought I could find healthcare work here and it would be super easy. Cost of living was higher, so maybe I'd get paid more. And that was not true. Arizona is way behind the times when it comes to healthcare in comparison to Florida. So it's pretty miserable. I mean, the only thing I could find was working with children, and that was not my cup of tea. I love children, but it wasn't my niche or what I had wanted to do. So Andy and Jackie gave me an opportunity to work for them in their dealership division. And at that point, they had been working from spreadsheets and everything they were just getting started here. So we were, in the school that they were renting, and that's where we were running our business from.
Wow.
Mountain Hills. And I had a little closet office. It was literally in a closet. And I ran all of the dealerships. Anything Andy needed, basically I was his go-to. If he texted me in the afternoon, needed me to call somebody, I did it. If he needed me to send an email, I did it. If he needed me to set up something, I did it. I initiated all the systems and processes in the beginning when there were no systems and processes. So that was my job. However, after about 10 months, I lost myself because I was stuck in an office and that's just not who I am. So, and I had nobody I could talk to other than leaving my office. And I was so busy, I couldn't leave my office. So I left the Elliot group for a little while and they were very understanding. And I said, it's not the right time for me. This isn't the right position. I appreciate the opportunity. And I felt like I've grown a lot and I've learned a lot about myself during that time. And they were very understanding, very appreciative of me coming to them and talking to them about it. And, I was welcomed with open arms, after that, because my husband's there. Right. So I trained the other girl that came in and took the position, and I stayed there for about 4 weeks and trained her so that the transition was easy. I went back into healthcare, and then after about 8 months, I still wasn't happy. It was weird. It was like, the money, it wasn't a money thing. It was just, I could never figure out who I was. It's kind of like I lost myself. So my husband, he was like, why don't you just come work for me? Why don't you just come work for me? And I'm like, okay, cool, I'll do it. He's like, what? Was that easy? I was like, yeah. I mean, what do I have to lose at this point? I'll always have health care no matter what, because you never lose that. And for me, it's like, I need to figure out who I am. And it's been a beautiful thing. It's a struggle because when you work with your spouse and you're working together, you learn a lot about each other and you fight it is a struggle in and out, but we're learning a lot about each other. And then if you go backwards, when we first moved here, we weren't married. So after about a month of living here, my husband, we have a funny story. My husband ran up a mountain to propose to me with the whole Elliot group. So he's not a runner. He hates running. So we were running up a mountain and he lost his breath. And we have the videos and the photos and stuff. And he got down on one knee and proposed at the top of a mountain a month after we moved here. And then we also got married a year ago, April 10th, in Andy and Jackie's backyard. So we were the first Elliot couple to get married or with Andy and Jackie, and they were in our wedding. So
Wow. That's incredible. What a story. What a story. So then what do you and your husband do day to day in the Elliot group now?
So my husband runs a lot of the big businesses with Andy and Jackie. We have whew, probably 200 and something dealerships that we work with. He does Zoom calls. He does every Monday Zoom on our elite coaching membership. And that used to be Andy's coaching call. But after a while, my husband stepped up and said, Andy, it's time for you to kind of rest a little bit on Mondays. I'll take that call from you. And he's like, you've earned your spot. So he takes that call. I help him with that call every Monday at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And oh, Pacific Standard Time. I get that confused. We moved here from Florida and I'm still not right with those times. So he does the Monday calls. We handle dealerships. We handle big businesses. We have roofing companies. We have solar companies. I have an oil and gas company that we work with that I had a direct contact with. We work with couples that work together. For me, I'm trying to hit that niche of working with couples that work together and helping them grow and scale their business while also working on the relationship, because you have to learn when to separate the two. So we have a lot of pieces, a lot of moving pieces that we handle for the Elliott Group. We also attend all the live events. We help Andy and Jackie with basically whatever they need. We've been with them for 3 years, and it was funny because I had told Andy, I was like, my goal is to be your power couple within the Elliott Group. He goes, oh no. He goes, you guys are my super power couple. I'm like, yeah.
Hey, that's awesome. And what gave you inspiration to write your book?
Okay, so that's a cool story. We have a client. It's actually a client. He's had him for 3 years. I'll plug his name because he's in the book. Justin Miller. He came in to an event, and my husband and I spent that whole weekend with him. And our clients that have been with us for a while, we cater to them quite a bit to show them their importance to us, because as we have grown, we want them to know that there's still that personal touch with us. We are doing specific things with those type of clients. But Justin, he's a single guy, and we had a conversation over dinner, and then we brought him back to the house, and he said, I want to get a woman like you. How does that work? And my husband goes, well, that's kind of different. He goes, well, that's kind of different. And I said, well, it's kind of different with me because I've been with Chris from day one. So I've been with him when he's been broke. I've been with him. Well, he's never really been broke, but I've been with him when he was down. I've been with him when he's up. We've been through a lot of hardships together. And all those struggles that we've been through have made us stronger. He goes, yeah, but you're a career woman and you're not like a gold digger. Like I tend to get all these women that are with me for money. So I sat down with him. I asked him a lot of questions, and he was like, wow, I never thought about it like that. He goes, you should write a book. And I was like, aha. I was like,
Ding.
I need to write a book. He goes, I will help you. I said, you'll help me? He said, I have a publisher. I have a lady that's done publishing on Amazon. It's super quick. We need to get this idea out quick. And once you get your first book out, then we can figure out all the rest after that, because you're going to want to do more books after the first one. So I said, okay. I just started coming up with different ideas. Like, okay, from career queen, because I was a career queen. Like I've been up and down the corporate ladder. But my husband and I together were marriage millionaires before we had our first million this last year. So, the millionaire mindset of being a millionaire couple is being a millionaire in your relationship before you are a millionaire financially.
Yeah.
So the idea behind the book, it's a book written for men that is basically like a little workbook and a guide for men that shows them, okay, how do I get that woman that's career driven, keep her, date her, marry her, and continue to foster the relationship through the longevity of time. And then at the end of the book, there is a questionnaire of about, I think there's 10 to 15 questions, like asking you, like, what are you looking for in a mate? Like, what is your idea person? Now, not saying there's anything wrong with a man that wants a woman that's going to stay at home with their children. There's nothing wrong with that. But you got to know that up front if that's what you're looking for, because if you go after a career woman and you say that's what you want and she's not on that same mindset, it's not going to work. It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, I've joked around, and my husband, you may hear him laughing in the background. I've joked around about being a stay-at-home puppy mom, but that's not what I want to be at all. Like I want to help him grow his business. I want to help him gain wealth, but that might mean that I'm sitting at home working from my computer. I'm getting leads. I'm calling customers. We have a beautiful dog, so I just always say, like, she's my pride and joy. So,
Of course.
but as far as the book goes, that's what the book is written for, and the book has been released. It is on Amazon for purchase.
Okay.
Super affordable for anybody. It is it's hardback book, so it does take about 10 to 15 days to come in versus your Amazon regular shipping, which is like 3 days. Because I did go the hardback route, I wanted it to be something that would last. The paperbacks tend to kind of fall apart, so I wanted it to be a hardbound book. There is a journal that is being released within the next 2 weeks. That is a 90-day journal for men, where you journal daily on the relationships that you have currently, whether it be, with your wife, with your girlfriend. It may just be that you're dating. So, okay, I met this chick. This is how this date went. I was at work and I'm interacting with these people, and this is how my day went. So you can reflect every day on how you're treating people in your life on a day-to-day basis. So that way you can use that information to focus on your relationship with your partner. So, and it says that in the beginning of the journal, that what the journal is used for, and it's a 90-day, and that's because it takes 90 days to change something that you're doing to make it into a habit.
I never knew that. Wow.
That comes from my background of studying the brain.
That's awesome, though. So you got a journal coming out, you got your book out. Are you going to make like another sort of guide or handbook after? What are you thinking?
I am. I'm already in the process, which my husband doesn't know this, but I'm already in the process of writing. I'm already in the process of writing another one. The next one is for women. So it's for the career woman. So how to I want to say make yourself a little less alpha to gain the right mate, because as women that are alphas, it's really hard. I find that when I run into females like myself that are alphas in a relationship, we want the alpha male, but it's hard to keep the alpha male because we don't know how to turn down it's a masculinity thing. So you don't know how to turn down that masculinity and become a little more feminine so you can keep that alpha male in your life. So that's kind of where I'm going with the next one. It's a guide for women.
Okay. What do you think your guys' biggest challenge you had to overcome just culture-wise moving to Arizona?
People and weather. So weather really affects my husband.
Okay.
Like, really affects my husband. He hates cold weather. So he moved from Chicago, as you can understand that. He moved from Chicago to Florida because he wanted to be in warm weather. So it doesn't affect me as much as it does him. I don't know why. It's just because there's other things I feel like could affect me more, but I try not to let the weather bother me. So he hates cold weather to the point where he will talk about it on a day-to-day basis. He will scream and cry and moan, and I'm just like, oh God, here we go again, cold weather. And he's just like, this state is never going to warm up. So, and when when you wake up and the weather's cold and it's not the type of, it just puts you in a different mood. So I think our biggest struggle is, trying to overcome those things that we weren't expecting. He's already saying it's 50 degrees outside. So see, um, however, it could be always worse. The other thing is people. So as you know, I mean, I'm not sure if you've been in this area or if you've traveled across the country. I've lived in Arkansas. I've lived in Tennessee. I've lived in Florida. I've lived here. I've lived I'm a country girl, so I am very loving, very, I try to see the good in everybody, but keep one eye open and one eye closed. It's just, you have different personalities in Arizona than you do some other places. So, yeah, trying to adjust to the culture here too. You have the cost of living's higher. You have, I wouldn't say people tend to materialize things, and I'm definitely not materialistic. You would, for example, wearing what you wear on your back is not as important to me as, your home, or, you know, maybe going out to dinner and having it with a friend versus, going and spending money on crazy stuff. So culture shock a little bit. So
Definitely. What is your favorite part about the culture of the Elliot Group?
family.
Family. That's huge, honestly. That's. So I worked for about 4 years from the age of like 16 until like 19. For 3 years, I worked drainage, digging drain tile in people's backyards. Yeah, because up in Chicago, as kind of everything turned from farm fields to subdivisions, all the water runoff got all messed up, and their backyards flooded out real bad. So we dug drain tile, and all I did was dig for years. And I worked with it was a Spanish only speaking job. I learned Spanish. I'm I, I'm not as good as I used to be, but I'm still basically fluent. And just yesterday, actually, to digress. So we had an open house at my parts dealer. I fix lawnmowers now, so I was going to buy some parts. They had pizza, so of course I'm going to show up for lunch. There's some Mexican people outside, like, and they're asking me, oh hey, like, do you fix riding lawnmowers? And I just started talking to them in Spanish, and they looked at me like I was crazy. And I think that they then got like more like focused on the fact that I could speak Spanish rather than the fact that maybe I could fix their lawnmowers. but but I worked at this company for years, and every single day it was a family lunch. Everybody sat down. Someone brought tortillas. Someone brought carne asada. Someone brought salsa. Like it was always like a family, and really like I miss that working alone because it's not the same. Like I last week I had a beer with a customer, which was kind of fun. I'm fixing their lawnmower. We had a beer together, but it's like that's the closest thing you get to family. When you're working alone, it's something I really do miss, honestly.
Yeah, we have, when I say family, what I mean is like, so our family is obviously all the way across the United States. My family's still in Arkansas. His family's in Florida. Luckily, we work with Andy where we can come and go as we want. Like he does not micromanage us at all. I mean, if we want to go to Florida, we go to Florida. If we want to go work at home, we can work at home. But as far as like holidays and stuff, Jackie and Andy host, Christmas, they host Thanksgiving, they do things like that because they know all of us have moved across the country. Most of our families aren't here. However, if our families come in town, our families are allowed and welcome into their home as well at these like Christmas and Thanksgiving. So if Chris's parents come in from Florida, they want them there with us at Christmas. They want them there with us at Thanksgiving. That Jackie loves hosting that stuff. It's an amazing thing. And then not only that, but my husband and I are like best friends with Andy and Jackie. We go shopping together. We go on trips together that are private outside of like work. I think a lot of that comes to the fact that we're the same age. So we're the oldest ones in the company as far as that goes. Andy and Jackie are in their 40s and we're in our 40s. So, being the same age and having those struggles, the same struggles they had, and Jackie and I are a lot alike. I mean, a lot. It's crazy. Even our realtor that sold us this house, he's like, "Wow, like you two are like woven from the same cloth. Like it's crazy. I've never met somebody just like her, but you are just like her." So, and that's a compliment. So, we're always looking out for them, always have like their best interest at heart. If we see something wrong, we say it. And the thing with us also being close family is, and that's with everybody within the group, is that we also fight. We fight like brothers and sisters. It's not a perfect, I mean, we're not going to, be fake and say we're all perfect, because we're not. But if we have an issue with somebody, you go straight to them and you tell them, and you just you hash it out right then and get it over with. It's not it's not like in most companies where you run to the boss and you say something and then it just blows up. We handle everything internally, which I love. I'm the first one to say something if something I don't like something. So
Good. And that's nice though, being able to feel like you have a voice, to feel like you could speak up, to be a contributing member of the company. You're not just a number, you're not an employee, like they care about you, they host family events. It's so important, and that's really what, you hope to see more companies start to shift to.
yeah, and that's what they're trying to do. So Andy does a lot of speaking engagements, and the reason for that, he brings his team with him. Like my husband and I, we're going to SolarCon, which is in April, and then we go to the Limitless Society event with them. Those events, we all work together. It's kind of a cool. We all travel together as a family. We work together as a family. We fight as a family. But we also do that and bring ourselves across the country to show people that they can have it all. Going to Florida, we have an event. We have an event on March the 24th in Florida in the Tampa area. And that event is, my husband and I take that one to heart because that's in our backyard. So and we go stay with his parents when we go there. So that event in itself, we hold to our heart, but the team travels together. So when we have leaders and owners and CEOs that come to these events, holy cow, your team travels. Holy cow, your team is here, and they're supporting you, Andy. They're supporting the mission. They're supporting each other. They see that, and then they want that for themselves. That's our goal, is for them to see what we do and they want it within their own organization.
That really drives it home, honestly, because when when you get on a Zoom call with somebody and they're trying to sell you on a way to improve their sales team, it's one thing. But when you actually see that their sales team is there and it's in full force and everyone is, dressed up, they all look nice, they're presentable, it's a completely different mantra, really.
Yeah, and we don't just dress nice. We actually look like an army. So that's the crazy thing. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or if you're a man. Like they want you in a Elliot Army gear. They want you in dress pants. If you're a girl, you can wear like a long skirt or whatever, or a skirt and the top. But still, it's all black. It's SolarCon. We're doing something a little different with bright shirts because it's SolarCon. But for the most part, we're all black and white like an army. And when we walk through an airport, it's like, holy cow, are they in the army? Like who are these people? And then us also we are pushing our fitness division, which we do have, because we are going to elevate ourselves, all of us, in our fitness, so that we're even, when you see somebody that's in shape and they walk in a room and they're a leader, it's like, who's that? It automatically shows, hey, they have discipline. If they're an entrepreneur, they're a business owner, a leader, and they're in shape, they understand what it takes to be disciplined, not just disciplined in physical, but also disciplined in their business. If you can be disciplined in your physical fitness, then the business part is that much easier.
So much easier. I even found that in myself, like when I started getting serious about my health and I started even just running, like you run 5 miles, it takes you 50 minutes. That's an hour where it's just you versus you, just figuring out what you got to do to get better, how you can improve. It's it's game changing, honestly.
It is. And go ahead.
How are you guys looking to grow this fitness division?
So we have an amazing trainer. His name is Aaron Williamson. He was the Hollywood celebrity trainer. He trained Zac Efron, The Rock, all those guys. He is full time with us. So that's Andy and Jackie's trainer. They moved him here to work for them. he's become a really good friend of my husband and I. We're the same age, so he's in his 40s as well. So it's just a good feeling to have somebody there that truly cares. He was former military. He has a really cool story. If you don't follow him, follow him on Instagram. He's Aaron Williamson's freaking great. He's such a good guy. He's down to earth. He has a huge heart for helping others. And our fitness program is head by him. He writes all the programs. He does live Zoom calls every week. And then he also, if we have within our Elliot group, if we want to work with him, we just go to him. He'll give us some tips, and he'll write us out a little program to follow. And he's just an amazing guy. So he's got a lot of things that he's working on. We do have some like fitness programs that he is working on that will be, launched in the next few weeks. He has a book, our Straight 60 book, which is a workout program. And then he also has another book that he's launching, which he, showed it to us in Mexico. So kind of
That's
excited
cool.
about that. It's all on fitness, and he's been doing this for a long time. So he's somebody that knows his stuff. I'm very picky with who I go to. I was in the fitness industry for about 5 years. I competed in bodybuilding. And that's a hard thing to do. Competing every 12 weeks and being a corporate business professional and traveling all over the United States, that was pretty challenging.
Wow, I never knew that you were a bodybuilder.
I did the NPC bikini division for a while. I did figure for a little bit, but I lost weight too easy. So they moved me to bikini, and then I was winning everything. I was like, this is freaking cool. It's like my alter ego. I'm a country girl, but then you have this sassy girl up on stage that was just killing it. But then I stopped doing it because I realized that I was doing it for the wrong reasons. But I learned a lot about myself. So
Still, hey, I mean, it was fun. Definitely, it was fun while it lasted, at least.
yeah, well, I learned that I can basically do anything I put my mind to, and that, I love working out. I love eating healthy. I love eating clean. So, like I said, I learned a lot about myself.
And that's the key, being just building that confidence to know that you can do what you say you're going to do, and not just what you say you're going to do, but you can do more than what you say you're going to do. That's that's really it. Like when I started my lawnmower repair business a little about around 2 years ago or so, a little bit more. I thought like, hey, I need to go pass out some flyers. Do I need to pass out 500? I ended up passing out 30,000 direct to house, house to house to house. I went to 30,000 homes. Basically, every single family home in my town of 250,000 people, I went to. And I figured 1 in 250 was guaranteeing me a client. I figured out how to do it faster. I bought an electric skateboard, figured out this was the fastest way to do it, and I just went and went and went. And I would start at like 4 or 5 in the morning. I knew the board lasted 3 hours, so I could go from 5 to 8, and then I could do jobs from like 8 to noon, let the board charge, and I could go back out a second time. And that's really like what you're saying is knowing that you can do something and then figuring out how to do it at scale is like such a breakthrough.
Oh yeah, it was a huge breakthrough for me, and not only that, I was in my late 30s when I was doing it. So, you know, and I was competing against girls that were like 21, 22. So I was just like, yeah, I was like, and
Exactly.
I was weird. I was beating. So it's like I'm old enough to almost be your mama, and I'm beating you. This is great.
That's awesome. So in the fitness division, what are your guys' goals for it as a company?
We haven't had a lot of meetings on it yet, but I know that the goal is for us internally to work more on our own health and physical fitness, to basically be an example for anybody that we run into, to show them that, hey, you can be physically fit, you can work out, you can be a CEO of your company. And not only that, but doing all that will give you the energy to do what you need to do on the business side of things. Because when you stay in shape and you're in health, basically, if you don't take care of your health, you can't take care of your wealth. So, that's what we preach. And I know the goal is to reach more people, get more people on our fitness program with Aaron, and to get more people on these Zoom calls with Aaron. The Zoom calls are great because he gives, different information every week. And then there's some Q&A where you can ask questions. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, health is so important. I remember one of Andy's more famous videos of him saying like, if you don't have a six pack, you're not working here.
Six pack or you're fired, right?
You have six pack or you're fired. And that's really like it's a healthy company motto. A lot of people say like, like, oh, you're too hard on them. Oh, you're too hard. No, you're not hard enough usually.
No, and he, it's so funny that video went so viral, and we joke about it because not necessarily. I mean, yeah, granted, a six pack's great, right? But it wasn't necessarily that you need a six pack. It's basically that you need to take care of your health. Take care of your health, or we don't want you working for us. Because if more companies invested in their staff with their health. I mean, I've worked for healthcare companies that gave me a $30 stipend every month to join a gym. So that's a big deal, because if somebody's going to the gym and they're working out and they're taking care of themselves, they're less likely to be sick, therefore less days called out during that. So you basically, your sick time and all that gets banked. Like you don't have to use much sick time or paid time off, because you're never sick because you're taking care of yourself.
I never even thought about that. That's so true. Even like I'm recovering. I got a little cold this week. On Thursday, I was like Wednesday, I could tell it was coming on. Thursday, I still went to work and everything, of course, but I felt it. But then Friday, good as new. Today's Saturday, I feel fine. Sometimes you could be down for like a week or something.
Well, and some people, I mean, different people have different perspectives on that. So for me, I know that if unless I'm puking and like on my deathbed, I better not be at home. And the reason I say that is my body needs to physically be moving to get rid of it naturally. I don't like taking medicine. I'm the worst person when it comes to taking antibiotics and all that stuff. I don't believe in taking it. I would rather just naturally heal myself.
I'm the same way. I posted on my story. I just got some beet carrot orange juice, drank a bunch of that, and I was fine. I swear by it though. All my friends make fun of me. I swear by it. It works. Beet juice. It always
You know
cures my
what?
sickness.
Whatever works for you. My mom used to make, this is no passing judgment, but when I was a kid, because we grew up in the South, if you had a cold or you were sick, it was a hot toddy, which was a shot of whiskey and honey, right? It actually got rid of sore throat and a cold very quickly. So we did that when I was a kid. And then there's also pickle juice is a remedy for something too.
Hmm. My sister, she goes to Ole Miss actually, so I've heard about the hot toddies.
Yeah, they do work.
Awesome. Well, hey, Crystal, I think that this basically concludes our call. I really asked you, all my questions I got for you today. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm so excited to get a copy of your book, and then I'm going to definitely have your journal on order. I appreciate everything. Where can everybody find you on social media?
So on Instagram, I'm at the underscore official underscore Mrs. underscore Steinbrook. So Mrs. Steinbrook, you can find me there. And my Facebook is just Crystal Steinbrook. So you can find me
Okay.
there. And you can order my book on Amazon. It's From Career Queen to a Millionaire's Dream, and it's available for purchase as we speak.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate all your time and enjoy your weekend.
All right, you too. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye bye.